It's 8 p.m. Welcome to the Citi Newsroom. My name is Vivian Kai. Look, tonight I'm here with
Nathan Kwao.
Coming up, administrators of Get Fund appeal to protesting contractors to rescind ultimatum to lock up schools.
Members of the Executive Committee of the Ghana Football Association petitioned FIFA over attempts by the government to seek a dissolution of the association.
Also coming up, we'll find out why the price of tomatoes has reached record highs in certain parts of the country.
And delegates of the New Patriotic Party converge on Koforidua ahead of the party's national conference this weekend.
And later, St. Peter's School wins its third National Science and Maths Quiz title in a contest for the ages. Details. Now, the Ghana Education Trust Fund, that's Get Fund, is appealing to angry contractors, to reconsider the ultimatum to lock up completed government schools in 2 weeks if they do not receive payment for work done.
Get Fund owes these contractors a whopping 3.7 million Ghana cedis, but the current administrators of the fund claim the debt was inherited from previous management in 2017. My colleague Niyama Amar reports.
The unhappy contractors voiced their displeasure yesterday as they threatened a series of actions if they are not paid within 2 weeks. Bernard Azuma is chairman of the group.
If our passionate appeal goes unheeded within 2 weeks, beginning from 5th of July 2018 to the 19th of July 2018, there is no clear-cut step taken to pay us, we will hit the streets with massive demonstration. Simultaneously, we will advise our lawyers to proceed to court. In addition, our members will visit their project sites and lock up all the facilities.
But Get Fund says it lacks the funds, at least for now, to settle these contractors. Speaking exclusively to Citi News, administrator of Get Fund, Richard Buedu, begged the contractors to give them a little more time.
I'm making a passionate appeal to the contractors in Get Fund that we're doing all that we can to see to it that their money will be paid. We don't want them to go and then lock their classes. We're begging them. We know that we need those infrastructure for our flagship project, that is the free senior high school.
He, however, disclosed that his outfit is in talks with the government to secure funds to settle all outstanding debts and complete ongoing projects.
The board commissioned an audit to ascertain the stock of uncompleted projects and the estimated cost to complete these. This exercise is almost completed, and discussions have begun with government to provide the necessary funding not only to pay the arrears but also to complete all pipeline projects. His Excellency, the President, has been briefed and has committed himself to this cause.
For Citi News, I am Niyama Amar.
Delegates are expected to participate in the National Delegates Conference of the governing New Patriotic Party, that's the NPP. Now, the three-day conference will begin tomorrow and end on Sunday, July 8th at the Koforidua Technical University. Now, the delegates will go to the polls to elect national executives of the party who will steer the affairs of the party for the next 4 years. Now, the conference will also provide the platform for deliberations and resolutions on the National Chairman's statement, the General Secretary's repost, the National Treasurer's statement of account, and other matters of Congress's interest. Now, in the studio, I have Sami Wiafe, who has covered several editions of the Congress, to give us more details on the Congress. Sami Wiafe, welcome to the Citi Newsroom.
Thank you very much, Vivian.
First of all, let's go to the people taking part in this race. Run us through some of the contestants that we'll see and the positions, of course.
All right, we've got 41 people who are running for various national positions within the party. For the national chairmanship position, 3 people are running. For the vice chairmanship position, we have 7 people. For the general secretary, 3 people. National organizer, 3 people. National youth organizer, 4 people. The national women's organizer, 2 people, the national treasurer. We've got 6 people. The Nasara coordinator, we have 14 people. So, 41 people are vying for 8 positions within the NPP as far as the national leadership is concerned.
Okay. So we know 3 of these positions are the ones to watch out for. Which ones are there, and who are the people in there?
Well, these positions are the national chairmanship position, and also the position of the national women's organizer and the national youth organizer position. So these 3 positions are something we should take much interest or keep an eye on. For instance, for the position of the national chairman. We have 3 people. Mr. Stephen Ntim, who is doing this for the 4th time. Freddie Blade, who is the incumbent or acting national chairman of the NPP, who now wants to be the full-time national chairman of the party. And Dr. Richard Amwaku-Myoma, he's a lecturer at the Political Science Department of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He's never held any national position in the party, or not even national, no position.
No position, so it's new on this, right?
The first of becoming an officer within the NPP. For Mr. Blay, he's been an acting national chairman. Formerly, he was the first vice chairman of the NPP when the party went to a conference in Tamale in 2014. That conference saw the election of Paula Foko as the national chairman and Kwame Japan as the general secretary. Now, when they were suspended in 2015, Freddie Blay became the acting national chairman of the NPP. And so now he wants to be the full-time national chairman of the party. For Stephen Ntim, the highest position as far as the national leadership he's held is in 2004 when he was the first vice chairman of the NPP under the tenure of Haruna Isseku. In 2004 there was an issue when he became the acting national chairman. Right. The kickback issue. That's right. That's what the suspension of Haruna Isseku. So Mr. Ntim became the acting national chairman then. So that was the only position he's held as far as the national leadership is concerned. It's going to be a difficult contest among Mr. Stephen Ntim and Freddie Blay. And it will be difficult to pick who really is going to win, because if you speak to delegates, they believe the 2 of them have set the party well, and Saturday will determine who indeed becomes the national chairman of the NPP.
Now, yes.
Another position you ought to look at is the position of national women's organizer.
Before we go there, let's still stay with the issue to do with the chairmanship race. Now, ahead of that, we've seen a lot of issues that have come up. For example, Mr. Ntim accused Freddie Blay of buying votes by promising to give 200 and I believe 75 buses and all that. But before we come to your thoughts on that, Freddie Blay has reacted to that assertion this afternoon. Actually, he's dismissed the claims by the opponent, Stephen Ntim, that the 275 buses he procured for each constituency ahead of the Congress is vote buying. Now, he spoke to Citi Newsroom. His spokesperson, Richard Nyaman, said the move was a part of a larger welfare project. So let's listen to him.
I wish Mr. Ntim had focused his energies on his campaign. He claims he's gone around this country constituency by constituency, and I'm wondering what message he sold. Somehow he organizes a press conference and the focus of it is on Mr. Freddie Blay. To be frank with you, as a media and communications person for Mr. Blay, I was happy because he rather promoted my candidate. He says the buses are a way of buying the delegates, which means the delegates have been bought. And if I would safely conclude based on that, it means he has accepted defeat and is making excuses. This is a welfare package, and how is this supposed to be working? Basically, it is a bank facility. It's a loan, and anyone worth his salt can walk into a bank and acquire a loan to do business. And it's a business proposal. We'll give the buses to a recognized transport operating company, i.e. STC. And please, this will not be the first time, and I would encourage you to go to STC and find out if they have such arrangements with private businesses and individuals. If you can buy a fleet of buses, STC is ready to manage them for you. And that is what we're doing here. And so those making the propaganda that it is a public company and we are utilizing it for all those other reasons are wrong, because they are already engaged in it. And they are going to make a profit on this. mind you, they are going to be servicing those buses.
So some interesting assertions from both sides over that development, isn't it?
Yeah, sure. For Mr. Intim, Mr. Blay, I beg your pardon, I've had the opportunity to speak to him with regards to his decision to purchase these buses for the constituency. You know, in time past, when the constituency people have to do something at the grassroots level, they always come to the national headquarters to look for money for those activities. Now, Mr. Blay's idea is that in order to empower these constituency people, let's get them a business or something they will rely on anytime they need money to run activities at the constituency level. So his idea was that, fine, let me get into this particular venture, get a bus for them which will run on commercial purposes. So at least the constituency will have the opportunity to keep part of the money and also use part to service the loan that he's going for in order to purchase this bus. So it's been, Intim says, is an attempt to buy votes or influence the outcome of Saturday's election. Mr. Blaze people are also saying that no, this is an incredible idea and we should all push it.
Okay, let's move to the National Youth Organizer position. A tricky one, isn't it? But who are the front runners for?
Very, very. For this particular position, if anyone tells you they can predict who's going to win, that person may be lying, because the 4 people who are in there are very known people within the party. We're talking about Dominic Kwesi Eduya, who is currently the Deputy National Youth Organizer of the party. He was one of the deputies to Sami Oku when Sami Oku was, or he's still the National Youth Organizer of the MPP. He's in there. We've got Nana B, or they call him Harry Nana Buache. Currently, there's Deputy Executive Secretary of the National Service Secretariat. He hasn't resigned yet. He's still serving in that position. Sami Oku appointed him as the Director of Events and Planning when he was the National Youth Organizer. So Nana B was in charge of events and planning and programming at the MPP headquarters as far as the youth wing is concerned. So he worked with the youth. He's well known within the party as far as the youth is concerned. And then Kamaldeen Abdullah, he's currently the Nasara coordinator of the MPP.
Right.
Now he wants to move from Nasara to become the National Youth Organizer of the MPP, a position he feels that he's worked hard for, and so delegates of the party should elect him as a National Youth Organizer. From the Nasara where he's living, he's done a lot of things there. You know, now we've got over 14 people vying to replace him as Nasara coordinator. So it tells you the job he's done there and why he's leaving to become the National Youth Organizer. And you also got Kwabena Nana Bediako. He's a law student at the Ghana Law School as we speak. He's never held any position within the party, not even a polling station executive. So many people see him as an outsider. So for the race, it's between the 3 people, Nana B, Dominic Eduya, and Kamaldeen Abdullah.
Okay, let's end with a women's organizer. What are we looking at?
A tough one to call as well, Vivian. These are 2 women who are very prominent in the MPP. Let's start with Kate Jenfua. She started as a constituency women's organizer in Akwetia constituency in the Eastern region. She rose to become the regional women's organizer. Later on became the deputy national women's organizer under Utiko Efisa Jaba.
Okay.
So when Utiko was appointed a minister, when Nana Akufo-Addo became president, she was one of the acting people who held the affairs of the party as far as the women issues are concerned. She's also a patron of the MPP in the Eastern region where she comes from. So she's well known within the MPP when it comes to the Eastern region.
Okay.
She's rose through the ranks to become or to reach where she is now. And then the second person, Joy Zampari, formerly the Greater Accra Women's Organizer of the MPP. She was part of the MPP campaign in the Greater Accra region in the 2012 and the 2016 election. So she's well known within the MPP when it comes to the women as far as Greater Accra is concerned. So these are 2 women well known within the party, and it will be difficult for anybody to predict who is going to win this particular contest. Okay,
so we'll find out the results of that on Saturday. Thank you very much, Sami Riafe. He's our presidential reporter, and he's been covering such events for some years now. But how is the region preparing for the MPP's big event? Now, reporter Ni Amate Kanaku reports that almost 1,000 security personnel will be deployed to maintain law and order during the conference. Now, according to the police, drones will also be used to augment the operations.
The region in recent times has recorded high cases of robbery, forcing the IGP to dispatch a delegation from the National Police Headquarters to Koforidua to investigate the trend. This is to ensure maximum security in the region before, during and after the conference. The police have mapped up 10 security zones in the region. Security personnel, including officers from the Counter-Terrorism Unit, Rapid Deployment Force, SWAT, CID, will be stationed in all 10 security zones. DSP Ebenezer Tete is the Eastern Regional Police Public Relations Officer.
About 1,000 police officers to provide security both at the Congress grounds, within the municipality, at checkpoints, at traffic intersections, and also at the hotels and the lodging places of the delegates. Main roads that passes in front of the Okoja Technical University will be blocked temporarily. That's the one that comes to town. There's a 2-lane going and 2-lane coming to town. The one that comes to town will be blocked for security reasons.
The regional executives of the party have also secured some dormitories of the various senior high schools in Koforidua to house some members of the party. David Pra is the Eastern Regional Communications Director.
When it comes to accommodation, we've secured virtually all hotels and guest houses in the region, and some senior high schools that have some accommodation to spare. There are some institutions that, because of the completion of the final year students, we have some accommodations to spare, which we've secured some of them, like Kotek, Koforidua, Sektek, Mdrasko, Obos, Sadas, among other Pujons and other senior high schools that have accommodation to spare.
Several parts of the town have been dropped in party colors. From Koforidua in the Eastern region, Neoni Amati Kanaku reporting for Citi.
Nathan, interesting times ahead. I'm just waiting for Saturday to see who wins the various positions for the MPP's executives.
Yes, I mean, like we heard Samira, some of the positions are very close to call. I'd love to see how in team and Freddie Blake go at it, especially against the backdrop of, the back and forth accusations over vote buying, the buses and all that. It will be interesting to see how the two of them go for that national chairmanship position.
And you know what keeps ringing in my ear? Fear the delegates.
Yeah, the delegates, yeah. The call from Sir John after the last time they met for such an election. So we'll see. The delegates are still there. They are the ones who decide. So let's see what happens.
Okay. You're still watching the Citi Newsroom. When we come back, residents of the University of Science and Technology's University Hall rejects moves by authorities to convert the hall into a mixed one. Don't go away.
It's engaging, detailed, and loaded with factual and incisive analysis. It's The Big Issue, your preferred Saturday morning news and current affairs analysis program on Citi TV. Tune in this and every Saturday at 9 a.m. and hear the newsmakers discuss the top issues for the week.
At that time, Charlotte was complex. I'm not defending Charlotte. I'm talking about the way we behave like hypocrites and ostriches in this country. At that time, she was a perfect person.
It's The Big Issue with Stella Madonu on Citi TV. This and every Saturday at 9 a.m.
Tune in to The Point of View, Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. as Bernard Avlet takes the news further. He will bring the right guests, ask them the relevant questions, and get you the real insights you need on the big stories for the day.
What one action have you taken? What one statement have you issued?
Well, we've been issuing statements, even this...
on the specific issue of...
This very one.
Of no bed syndrome. Since you are saying that you've heard this before.
Well, we keep talking.
The Point of View with Bernard Avlet. Monday and Wednesday nights, only on Citi TV.
Welcome back to the Citi Newsroom. My name is Nathan Carl. Let's get on to some other stories. And the Executive Committee of the Ghana Football Association has formally petitioned World Football Governing Body FIFA over government's plan to dissolve the association. The 24-page petition is asking FIFA to recognize the existence of the 17-member Executive Committee and empower it to lead reforms in the aftermath of the Anas Aremeyaw Anas expose on football and corruption in the country. I've been joined by my colleague Fento Tahiru to explain what the petition seeks to do and why the association is even taking this step in the first place in writing to FIFA. Fent, good evening and welcome to the Citi Newsroom.
Good evening.
What exactly is this petition saying, and what is the Ghana Football Association seeking to find?
So the petition is seeking three things. One, they want FIFA to still recognize the Ghana Football Association, and they want to be allowed, be given some 6 months to work out reforms. And two, they are contending that government's decision or moves to dissolve the FA are illegal. They say it's legally flawed and premature. Those are the words they use in the petition. And then they are also basically saying that the government did not give the GFA enough time to work out the reforms themselves before moving for the dissolution process. And so basically those are the reliefs that they are seeking. But the bigger picture from that particular petition is that the GFA still thinks that government is working on some very tight ropes in the sense that if they do not reorganize themselves and stop interfering in what's going on in Ghana football at the moment, we are risking a FIFA ban. And they're basically telling FIFA to tell the government of Ghana to stop interfering in the affairs of the Executive Committee and the way they run the FA, because they think that they still have legal boundaries to be able to run the Football Association, and the government has no right to stop them.
But isn't it quite interesting that the FA is writing directly to FIFA but hasn't said anything to the law courts? Because let's not forget, there was an injunction on the FA's activities. That injunction has elapsed. Why are they not talking to the courts, and they are rather talking to FIFA to tell government to, as it were, back away?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because the case itself will be heard on July 9. But the GFA has sent a response to the petition from the Attorney General. And we saw that, I think that was presented last week, where they answered a lot of the issues in the petition. And they contend that the government does not have the right to dissolve the FA because, one, they think that no competent law court has been able to prove any criminal culpability of any member of the GFA. And that's the only ground under which the GFA can be wound up, and so that's not been done. So there's no reason for them to be dissolved. And then two, they also contend that the GFA president, Nyantachi, resigned on
former president.
Yes, former president. He resigned on June 8th, and then the dissolution moves were made on June 12th. That's practically 4 days. And then so the ESCO is saying that the 4 days was not enough for them to have worked on reforms, and that they had taken steps towards reforming the association and had done widespread consultations towards that. So the government didn't give them enough time to be able to work through those processes before moving into the resolution. So they're saying that before you can dissolve us, you need to have given us a fair hearing and a very good time to be able to work through these things. And that was never done before the dissolution process was started. So it's a lot of things that they do not agree with government's moves. And they're also saying that that interim management committee that was put in place should be dissolved, and that they have no capacity to run Ghana football at the moment when the FA is still legally in existence.
Just finally, we do know that government spoke to FIFA in Accra and then in Zurich. They've put out a liaison committee. So now that the FA disagrees with government's plan, what is likely to happen to this liaison committee, which I suspect is already making moves to get things back on track in terms of Ghanaian football?
Yeah, so in the nutshell, I think what the GFA really just wants, basically, is for the government to invite them to the table. The government has blocked them on a number of occasions. They blocked them in that FIFA meeting here in Accra. They also blocked them from attending the FIFA meeting in Zurich. They just want an invitation to the table to work together towards those reforms. Now, The interim committee that's been put in place, the GFA contend they cannot work because they are supposed to coordinate the registration of Ghanaian players to participate in international competitions. They will need the player cards, details, all of those things are contained, or they are in the possession of the GFA. And if you lock up the GFA offices and you're saying they cannot work, just 2 people cannot have access to all of those information to present to FIFA. So they can foresee challenges already with that team working adequately enough to make sure Ghana is able to participate in all these competitions. Okay, all right, thank you very much. And I'm sure when there are more updates, we'll have more interviews just to give some clarity to the matter. For sure. Right, so thanks to Tahiru there with those explanations. Let's get on to some other stories. And contrary to reports that prices of tomatoes will drop for this month due to a bumper harvest, Citi Newsroom's checks at the market show otherwise. The price of the vegetable has gone up by 20%. Meanwhile, prices of other food items also continue to rise. In this report, Jessica Yokoayi explores what is leading to these hikes on the market.
Evidence of the impact of the inadequate storage facilities in Ghana on the hikes in food prices. Isoko Ghana's analysis shows that between May and June this year, 8 food items recorded increases in prices between 3 and 14%, while the prices of 4 food items dropped within the period. Commodities like yam, rice, cowpea and maize all had their prices going up. But tomato recorded the highest drop in price as prices went down by as much as 28% between May and June this year. Checks at Agbogloshi and Tudu markets in Accra confirmed that the prices had indeed been increasing over the months. But it will emerge that the expectation of consumers of buying tomato for less this month may not be the case.
Ediba eba from kakra mom lole fe na de lodun get ni bibi wan enti omusu di kakra betusu
entos ni boni e din dodo because anka fi say every year by this time entos no wo fam but insione to wo bush nti omu di ba enye ti ma no so ko amonya load kakra bi omu di ba na omu di atusu.
This customer, Nadia, is not pleased with the rise in prices.
Because I didn't expect to buy a small bucket of tomato for 20 cedis. And I'm doing that. The money I planned on using to buy tomatoes, it was 10 cedis, 15 cedis. So I had to add up, which has one way or the other going to affect the budget I brought here.
Contrary to reports by Isoko that prices of tomatoes has actually gone down marginally, we find out here at the Tudu market in Accra that this actually is not the situation or the case. So for instance, a white paint rubber, medium size, which was going for probably about 10 or 15 cedis, is now being sold at between 20 and 25 cedis to the customers. This doesn't really go down well with the customers, of which some I spoke to, but then again, they have to try and compromise. So from here, we are heading towards Isoko to find out more about this issue. Francis Dansweje is the content manager at Isoko Ghana, and he attempts an explanation to the trend.
The weather is part, how farmers handle the commodities before they harvest are part, and even the farming practices are also part of the things that may happen to the crops post-harvest. And so all these are reasons that can account for either a drop or rise in prices.
Not all. Consumers are being subjected to the vast differences between prices of commodities across major markets. For instance, a 72-kilogram crate of tomatoes is selling at 281 cedis in Kumasi, whilst the same quantity is being sold at 403 cedis in Accra. Reasons accounting for this are mixed.
Now, in 1999, the Ministry of Trade and Industry issued a communique to all importers to the effect that poultry products with total fat content exceeding 15% was prohibited in the country.
This ban was to curtail the consumption of turkey tail, popularly known as chofi, but it seems to have had no impact, especially in Nsawam, where its sale is big business. Citi Newsroom's Eugenia Tinkran explores why authorities are struggling to handle the import and sale.
For many travelers along the Accra-Nsawam Highway, their journey will never be complete without fried yam and turkey tail, also called chofi. Trays of this delicacy balanced on the heads of traders was always the attraction on this stretch of the highway. Until 10 years ago, when the Food and Drugs Authority banned the fatty product.
Well, the regulation is that poultry products come into the country, the fat content should not exceed 15%. So, for instance, if you are importing chicken into the country, the fat content of one piece of chicken should not exceed 15%. But when you pick turkey tail's fat content is over 60%. You understand? So already it's one of the products that were banned that's not supposed to be in the country. And this is purely because of health implications.
But the sellers disagree.
But oh, Jofi, don't catch a fat. No, Jofi, I'm going to do a fair. You should toss it down. Jofi, I'm going to end that. You the play when I'm going to do Jofi, I'm going to do. Now you should turn our war banner per bar. Jofi, I'm going to get Tianet. Jofi, Yale be in. We don't Jofi a yen. My Yatono, or that should be used to Namato. Jaleo, man, come to Anka, Kamayala and Akamu. You themselves can see a balance here near you may be a. Oh, and I should feel free. If you are broaching at the brewer, it's some kind of a banner by your broaching the ban, yes, your cotton. Yes, so you do my yarn near you, you may be counted there, and yes, see a jay. You near you may be account and to the my
10 years on, Chofi is yet to get off the traveller's menu. And this seems to be the FDA's biggest worry. James Latte believes consumers will stop patronizing the delicacy if they understand its health hazards.
So we are expecting that consumers will understand that turkey tail is not being banned for banning sake, but it's being banned because of its health implications. And let me explain one or two things to you. If, for instance, you consume turkey tail continuous for a period of time, the fats with other substances sometimes get stuck in the blood vessels. It makes the blood vessels narrower, making it difficult for blood to flow either to the brain or to the heart. When it happens that way, you can get heart attack, you can get stroke. These are some of the issues. You understand? So, well, we believe that people should understand that the ban is just to protect public health and safety.
Nonetheless, a complete ban will deal these traders a big blow since their entire livelihoods depend on these sales. But for how long will the consumer stay exposed to the threats of these hazards yet testy meat before the FDA cracks the whip?
Nathan, Chofi.
Oh, Lord. If it's available, we'll buy. So if you are banning, let it not get to where consumers will have access. That's my take on it.
Perfect submission. Ahead on Citi Newsroom, St. Peter's School wins its third National Science and Maths Quiz title and a contest for ages. Don't go away.
Wherever the weekend sporting action happened, we will bring it to you here on Scorecard. Every goal, every dunk, every punch, the winning strides, and the winning volleys.
Come international media, he said, look, wait, sit and wait. Let me have a meal with my people. And I think that's the same cool, it's the same organization he brings to the field every time I've seen him play. He looks to me like somebody who has played over 50 caps already. Okay. But this guy has barely played over 25 caps for the national team.
All of the weekend's action in one place. Scorecard. Every Sunday at 8 p.m. prompt on Citi TV.
30 minutes every weekday, catching up with all the trending social media conversations of the day. If you tweet it, we'll read it. We might just even Skype you. 30 minutes is all it takes, so use the hashtag 30minutes on social media to catch our attention. Join the most interactive social media TV show weekdays at 5 p.m. only on Citi TV.
Welcome back to the Citi Newsroom. My name is Vivian Kai Loko. Now, residents of the all-male University Hall, also known as the Kantaga Hall at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, have threatened to use all means to reject moves by authorities to make it a mixed hall. Now, the management of the university had earlier indicated plans to convert the hall to a mixed one, an action the residents strongly kicked against. Now, the students embarked on a demonstration to register their displeasure, but were calmed down by the alumni who submitted numerous petitions to dissuade management from its decision. Now, months later, the school's administration successfully carried out its plans by allocating 43 ladies to the hall. Now, in the studio to discuss this issue further is a Kantaga rep. He's a Greater Accra Press Secretary of the University Hall, Mr. Raymond Lord. Welcome to the Citi Newsroom.
Thank you very much.
It appears to be a simple one. The challenges with residency, the challenges with security. What's it such a big deal to allow the women to be part of your, to cohabit with them?
Well, thank you very much for your question. We think that the reasons the authorities are giving are not tenable. They are giving two reasons why they want to mix Katanga. The first is that they say the female population on campus is increasing. And the second is that security reasons, the women are being raped. But we are of the view they are not tenable. They just chose these reasons because people will side with such reasons. You know, everybody has a soft spot for women. You understand? We all have soft spots for women. So they think when they say these things, people will side with them and then will agree that let's take the girls to Katanga. In any case, did the girls drop from heaven to the university? They were the ones giving out the admissions. So they knew the numbers were going to increase. Why haven't they make alternate, arrangement to give them halls? Why haven't they built more halls? Go to University of Ghana. They are doing the BOT, that is build, operate, and transfer, because they know their population is increasing. So they give land out to private real estate. They build hostels. They run it for a while, and then they submit it to the university authority. Why haven't University Authority also done that? You see, it is a grand scheme. They are only trying to promote a culture of silence on campus. Over the years, you take history, you understand. Every time the university authorities are doing things that does not favor the student, it's only Katanga that has come out to fight for the student. Even the SRC doesn't do that. And so they think that when they send ladies to Katanga, then they wouldn't have the numbers to agitate when maybe they are doing things that they don't like. Why would you say girls are being attacked? Is it only girls that are being attacked outside campus? I would entreat you, send your cameras to the university police station and see the number of complaints that has come and see if it is only the ladies that are being attacked. The guys are also being attacked. In any case, who puts the ladies outside? It is the university authorities. You brought in a policy known as in, out, out, out policy. When Kwame Nkrumah built KNUST, everybody was resident on campus. Fast forward, you are not making any development.
But in the interim, in trying to get more residential spots for people who come in, because you cannot also say that because you cannot get places of accommodation for them, you won't take them when you have infrastructure for classrooms, etc. In the interim, is it not right to allow them to join you? For example, we know 43 will be joining you pretty soon. Is that out of place?
So that's what we are saying, that is not the reason. It is not true. Because, see, if you say you don't have enough accommodation, we are only looking at the accommodation side. Have we looked at other educational facilities? Have they increased them? Because if you're only going to make shift and put them in Katanga, what of the academic halls? lecture theatres? Have you made provision for them? Our labs, are they adequately furnished? Have you increased our labs? The engineering department, have you increased the workshops? Can they accommodate the number of students you claim you want to bring on board? It is not just about residential facilities. See, it is a higher institution of learning. You understand? University authorities should look at a broader way of educating the students. If you say you are increasing the numbers and you don't have residential accommodation for them, and so you are going to push them to Katanga, okay, fine. If you bring them there, now the lecture halls, the lecture theatres, can they accommodate them? How are they going to sit? Because already the lecture halls take the number of students currently. Now you're going to bring in more. Can the lecture theatres take them? Can the labs, do they have enough?
So is your contention on the infrastructure of the lecture halls or of your hall?
We are looking, you see, we are looking at the whole thing holistically. That's why we are saying that it's a grand scheme. They just want to kill student front. They just want to promote a culture of silence. Because if you interrogate the matter properly, it doesn't make sense.
Why would they want to kill the front? What is it that Katanga does that they need to silence you?
Thank you very much. There have been a number of initiatives Katanga has taken that does not favor the administration. There was a time they wanted to buy V8 for the provost. And we're like, no, why would you buy V8, Land Cruiser V8 for the provost? All of them have cars. Why don't you rather give them allowances that they will use to buy fuels and bring to lectures? Then use the monies to furnish the labs. There was a time pharmacy didn't have enough chemicals to do their tests. Meanwhile, you had money to go and buy V8. The university authorities should rather give us solutions. You see, when the nation is suffering, we rather look at the professor to give us better solutions to problems and not to just try to solve problems halfway. The reasons they are giving are not tenable. We have told them that they should take their time. Look, do the BOT system. That is build, operate, and transfer. There are a lot of companies that are ready to come on board and build hostels, run it for themselves, after they recuperate their capital. Then they turn it over to you. Why the rush? Okay. They should look at the broader picture of educating students. You understand? You shouldn't just, because your personal interest, you want to just mix Katanga.
Okay.
You understand?
Well, we'll have to leave it there. You earlier demonstrated. It didn't work. What next for you?
They have not demonstrated. We hear they say the students have demonstrated. They have not demonstrated. In fact, the students in the hall wanted to demonstrate, but we told them to calm down. All they did was when the president went to Kumasi to inaugurate NAPCO, they went to stand there and raised placards to register their protest. You understand? The demonstrations that the boys wanted to do, they wanted even to disrupt examination. It was the alumni that came in and said they should hold on. We are trying to dialogue and then try to get the situation resolved. In fact, we are even talking to the Chancellor, Otunfuo. We've gone to the Vice President's office. We've talking to some prominent alumnus of Katanga, like the Speaker, the Oche Mensah Bonsu. That is the leader in Parliament. We are talking to such people. He's also a Katangi. Right. So we are talking to such people to intervene. But in the nutshell, where the school authorities still think they won't, then we also advise ourselves.
Right. I'm afraid I have to leave it there. Thank you very much, Raymond Lord. He's the Greater Accra Press Secretary of the University Hall. That's Katanga. Now let's move on to some other stories, and still on education. And the Eastern Region Giants St. Peter's School won a Bachelor of Nerves as they held off competition from Adisa Del College and West African Senior High School, that's WAS, to clinch their third title in the finals of the National Science and Maths Quiz held today. Now the win, the school's first in 12 years, saw the Nketia-based lads claw their way back into the contest after trailing for 3 rounds. There's more in this report.
Packed to capacity, the National Theatre became a charging ground for enthusiastic supporters of the 3 competing schools.
This grand finale is going to feature 3 amazing schools. The first is 2016 winners at Adisa Del College. Is St. Peter's Senior High School. Two-time winners
the contest began and the Santa Clausians played up their game, distressing their contest favorite, West African Senior High School WAS. Adesado College kept WAS and St. Peter's gasping for breath to catch up with its score. This was until the third round when Adesado led again with 4 points out of 10 from the problem of the day. WAS and St. Peter's both scored 3 points. But the tables turned at the 4th and 5th rounds.
I am sometimes referred to as the ladder of life. That I'm often not considered when it comes to great biological discoveries. I was one of the first scientists to organize living things. Thus, among other things I studied, I was a taxonomist. My work on the classification of living things was revolutionary at my time. I developed the first classification system. Yes. You see? Aristotle. You're right.
WAS and St. Peter's sped past Adisco, leaving the Zebra Boys out of sight in the true or false and riddle rounds. But luck ran out on WAS as they lost only by a point to St. Peter's. As they are known, have clinched title number 3 and the prize money of 40,000 Ghana cedis.
Nathan, just a point. So sad.
Yes.
But I know you're a team St. Peter's, right?
No, I was only team Prempeh. Even though they beat Accra Academy, I wanted Prempeh to win.
I was actually team at Dissidale, but I wanted WAS to win because I felt underdogs and they did such a great job. I'm going to be killed for saying that I was secretly supporting Team WAS, but I thought they should have won, and the one was just sad.
It was heartbreaking, but the final margins in competitions, they always determine a lot. Let's stay with education, and it is a contest several basic school students look forward to every year. And today, the Literacy Challenge team visited the K. Billy Clare International School at East Legon as part of its engagement exercise.
Now, the winner of this year's Literacy Challenge will win 10,000 Ghana cedis, while the second and third positions go home with 5,000 and 3,000 cedis respectively. Now, Citi News' Mina W follow the team and reports.
At today's session, the team from Citi FM gave the students a feel of how the Literacy Challenge final classical quiz competition would be.
Plus 5 minus 6 9 times 2 18 plus 3. Okay.
For this year's challenge, the first stage of the competition requires junior high school students across the country to write on the topic. It's 2035. The law allows people below 40 years to contest for the presidency. You are a presidential candidate in the general election. In not less than 600 words, write your manifesto speech. Students of the K. Billy Clare International School shared with Citi News what is likely to appear in their written manifestos.
If I were president, I will help persons with disabilities. I'll build more disability-friendly institutions, and I'll encourage them to vote during the national elections. I'll tell them that hope is not lost for them because they are also the citizens of Ghana.
If I have the opportunity to change something in Ghana, I'd increase productivity because I've realized that countries that go increase their productivity or do more on the productive side and enough money they need to undertake projects in their country.
If I become a president, the first thing I would like to touch on is corruption. First of all, our immigration officers are very corrupted and biased. If you want to do this, they'll first take money, and even our policemen and soldiers standing around the road, if you do something that they have to take you to the police cell, they'll rather take 5 cedis or 10 cedis, then they'll let you go, and it's very corrupting.
The literacy challenge is sponsored by Databank Edifund and MoneyGram.
Let's get on to some other stories. And the Ministry of Roads and Highways has issued a warning to all squatters along the Tema roundabout to move immediately to pave way for the construction of the 3-tier interchange at the roundabout. According to them, an official sword cutting will be done on the 18th of this month, hence the need for the squatters to relocate.
Now, speaking to the media on an inspection tour of some roads within Tema in the Greater Accra region, Sector Minister Kwesi Amoakwata noted that squatters will be forcefully evicted if they refuse to heed to the directive.
I want to put it on record that after 18, when sword is officially cut here, if they still continue to defy advice, they continue to be adamant, I will prove to them that there is authority in this country and the state power will be revoked. We don't want to do that. They should not push us to the wall. If they do, it will be proved to them that we live in a civilized, organized, disciplined state, and there is a disciplined government in place. So this is a national project that no individual or sectional interest will be put above it. I'm appealing to them, they should move. And this is my final and the last advice to them. But all those who have moved, like I said, I salute them, and they have shown a true Ghanaian spirit.
Let's get to some other related stories. And motorists and passengers who use the dusty Fijai bypass are asking authorities to fix the stretch as soon as possible to save lives. The road, which connects residents from Sekondi Takoradi to the Fia Kwanta Regional Hospital and the Western Regional Fire Command, is in a deplorable state. Citi Newsroom's Akwesi Ejeanim has this report from the Western region.
This is the Fijai bypass, a close to 2-kilometer road that links the Accra to Takoradi Highway with the Sekondi to Takoradi Road. The road connects residents to the Efiang Kwanta Regional Hospital as well as the Western Regional Fire Command. However, this road hasn't seen any maintenance works after a rush one was done for the 2008 African Cup of Nations. This fire service worker walking to the office is basically struggling to deal with the dust, but her colleagues say the situation is even more worrying during emergencies.
People call for emergencies and we use this road a lot because this is where our office is situated. So we are just pleading that they should do something and very quickly about this road so that at least we can give out the best service to the public.
This student of the Holy Child College of Education shares her ordeal on the road.
And our school is located along the road, and it's very bad. Yeah, at times when we are going, because of the road, the drivers take us big sum of money because they can't pass on it easily like that. And our uniform too is white, and when we are going, it gets dirty. So we have to get a better road.
Movement of ambulances is also a problem, since the Efiang Kwanta Regional Referral Hospital sits at the mouth of the road. Health personnel as well as passengers are unhappy with the situation.
Yeah, I've been using that road, and to tell the truth, it's really dusty. So for you to pass there to Fijai, that's what I would say. It's not that convenient.
It's very, very important for, pregnant women, nursing mothers, anyone who is sick. You see, a convalescent who is very, very sick. And the way the road, is bumpy and very terrible. We will be glad if it will be put in order. We will be glad.
Some taxi drivers say their cars always look unwashed because of the dusty nature of the road, and this is affecting their business.
Senior ACT, even po, Yane Kauna and Tem Basabasetimiba, Yane passengers in Tem Basabasimtiva. What you are when you are in Suna Okala Senati because of a quaintino, and the quantity a higher pine, your mum way, no my, you got DC, Iron one, or measure my, you got the MP, also a measure no my, Fija Assemblyman, also one share, no more my.
Despite the importance of this road to residents here in Takoradi, in using this particular Fija bypass in assessing the regional hospital, it is still a confusion between the regional urban roads and the Sekeni Takoradi Metropolitan Assembly as to who is responsible in fixing this particular road. From Fijai, I am Kwesi Ejenim for Citi Newsroom.
Nathan, bad roads all over the place.
Yeah, and there's a lot that the state must do. They've mentioned the people, DC, MC, and they'll have to put their hands to the plow and get some work done. People just can't live like this. You can't drive on such roads. The irony to a hospital, and imagine you are going through dusty roads to go to a hospital.
Well, that's it for today's edition of the Citi Newsroom. My name is Vivian Kai, local. Tonight, I was here with
Nathan Kwao.
Log on to our website, citinewsroom.com, to get more stories, business, entertainment, politics, sports, and what have you. Thank you so much for your time.